How can doctors use a Physician National Interest Waiver to skip the PERM green card process? Right now, the PERM process, the most common employment-based green card process, is taking quite a while. PERM labor certifications can take over a year to be processed, and with the new PERM form and new system where they are filed, the flag system, we don't know if it might take even longer in the future. So, in other words, it's good to think about other ways to get a green card. A Physician National Interest Waiver-based green card process, the PNIW for short, can be helpful for those doctors who agree to work full-time, 40 hours per week, for 5 years in an area where there aren't enough doctors. In other words, a shortage area. Or at a Department of Veterans Affairs facility. They don't need a job offer or a PERM approval from the U.S. Department of Labor to use this option. Instead, the doctor applies for it themselves, although they do need a 5-year agreement from their employer. Choosing the PNIW can be a great idea if you're a doctor who can't get a green card through your job yet, or if you own a big part of your medical practice, making the PERM process harder. PNIWs are also generally a faster path to H-1B extensions beyond the maximum of 6 years, and generally a faster path to allow your H-4 spouse to work in the U.S. So, is a Physician National Interest Waiver just another type of J-1 waiver? That's a big no. It's very easy to confuse the two because they both have the word waiver in them and they are both predicated on full-time work in an underserved area. However, they are waiving completely different things. The J-1 waiver is waiving a restriction of the J-1 status that requires the physician to go back to his or her home country for a 2-year period. It is not a status in and of itself, but rather opens a door through which the physician can move into another status, such as an H-1B. On the other hand, the PNIW is actually a green card process, and it is waiving the need for the physician and an employer to go through the PERM labor certification process, which has a lot of recruitment and other requirements. What types of physicians are eligible for the PNIW? Qualifying physicians are doctors of medicine and doctors of osteopathy, both primary care and subspecialist physicians. Therefore, there is broad eligibility here, though podiatrists, dentists, chiropractors, and optometrists, among others, would not be eligible. What types of locations qualify? Shortage areas include health professional shortage areas, HPSAs, and medically underserved areas and populations, MUAs and MUPs. A great way to search for underserved areas is through the Health Resources and Services Administration's website tool, right above here. How does the process work? First, a federal agency or a Department of Public Health with jurisdiction over the shortage area, such as a state Department of Health within the state where the physician will practice, must determine that the physician's work in the area is in the public interest. For those physicians who have received a Conrad J-1 waiver or similar shortage area waiver, this public interest or public support letter is typically supplied by the same agency that recommended the J-1 waiver. Unlike with J-1 waivers, there is no limit to how many public interest letters a state or federal agency can issue per year. Every agency has its own requirements that must be met for the issuance of such a letter. Once the public support letter is obtained, it, along with the 5-year employment contract and various other supporting documents, are submitted with the I-140 petition to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Ultimately, when the physician's green card place in line comes, he or she can file the I-485 Adjustment of Status application, the final step of the green card process. It can only be approved when the 5 years of clinical service are complete. Here are just a few other important points to keep in mind. First, full-time clinical service in an underserved area from even before the start of the PNIW process can potentially count towards the service commitment as long as that service was not performed while in a J status, and as long as for that service a federal agency or state Department of Health with jurisdiction over that shortage area credits that prior time through a public interest letter. Sometimes, even a period while a physician was in residency or fellowship may count if the above applies. As another example, think about a doctor who may have been working in the shortage area already through a J1 waiver employer and commitment. Prior credit can be an excellent way to shorten the remaining commitment. Second, the 5-year commitment does not have to be completed in one go or one 5-year period without interruption. It also doesn't need to be completed with just one employer or just within one state. It's more flexible than that, and it provides good mobility. Third, and finally, if the physician has a 3-year Conrad J1 waiver commitment as well, that commitment can be served together. So the total commitment would be 5 years, for example, rather than 8 years. If you are interested in the PNIW, it is important to talk to a qualified immigration attorney to see if this green card process makes sense for you and if you're eligible. I do hope that this explanation was helpful. Please feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.